Hey there, fellas. In this video, we are going to be talking about psychology, right? I know most people, they tend to like the strategy videos better, and I got more of those coming, right? I got more technical analysis stuff and with candle confirmation coming in the future, but I don't want to skip over this because it's so important. In fact, it's even more important than the actual strategy stuff that we talk about, right? Because, I can give the strategy on a platter, which I've done, step-by-step rules, but the truth is, like, most people are still going to fail, not because the strategy doesn't work, but because you're going to get in your own way. And that's what I want to address in this video, okay? Because what you got to understand is you have a certain set of behaviors, right? You have a certain pattern that plays out within you. The folks that are constantly blowing up accounts one after another, right? Whether it be personal accounts, prop firm accounts, like you see them all the time on social media. They just repeat this process again and again and again. Why do they do that, right? There is no honor in blowing up accounts. Because some folks wear it like a badge of honor, right? Like it's something to be proud of, and it's not. It means you're effing up. Why is that something to be proud of, right? You're supposed to learn from mistakes, sure, right? But here's the thing: it only took me one account. When I first was starting, I did blow up an account. All right, let my emotions get the best of me, and I blew up that account, lost all my money. But that wasn't a prop firm account. That was a personal account, which of course is a lot more money than just losing an evaluation fee. So I get, like, with the folks that are kind of blowing up prop firm accounts one after another, like it's evaluation fees. Of course that adds up. But how do you get out of that hamster wheel, right? Because one account, here's why I was able to progress in the right direction fairly quickly after that, after I blew up that account. And this is what a lot of folks do not do. Okay, you got to look in the mirror. All right, you got to look in the mirror, and you got to be very honest with yourself and your shortcomings and what you're doing. Because trading's very simple. Like, it's very simple. What do you need? You need an edge. You need to manage risk, keep a straight head on, and just continue to execute. It's pretty simple, right? And if you do that, you'll make money long term. But you get in your own way, right? What folks will do is they'll blow up that account, and immediately they'll go to someone to blame, whether it be the educator, which, yes, there's a lot of bad educators, 100%. Like, there's a lot of scammers. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's just teaching complete bullshit, which is most stuff in the industry. But even if that's true, you still gotta look in the mirror. And that's the thing that you're missing. Maybe, they'll blame the broker, they'll blame the prop firm. But here's the very important thing. When you do that, it doesn't allow you to look inward, and it doesn't allow you to analyze yourself and your shortcomings and what you could do to improve, because you're putting it on somebody else. So what that does is it gives you a get out of jail card, right? It allows you to not look at yourself. It allows you to not progress when you do that. You don't need to. It was their fault, right? That's what you're saying to yourself. Oh, it was their fault, so I don't need to. I didn't do anything wrong. It was, if they didn't do that, I would have succeeded. No, you fucking wouldn't. All right, you would have gotten your own way. So that's step number one, is whenever you do have that messed up, you blow up that account, it's going to be your knee-jerk. It's going to be a lot of your knee-jerk reactions to blame somebody when that happens. It's going to be the reaction. But you gotta stop, and you gotta look at what you did, because you did something there. You up the risk, even if you blow up an account, even though, like, let's say the person you're learning from, because there's a lot of bullshit. Most stuff isn't good out there, right? Most stuff isn't effective, like candle confirmation, like my candle confirmation strategy. All right, most stuff isn't good out there. But even if that's the case, like, you're blowing up the account because of most of you, all right? I'm not saying, like, even if you're managing risk and you have a bad edge and you don't have something that works, it's going to be more like a slow bleed. But a lot of folks are, like, blowing up their accounts left and right, like one after another. And that says what? Bad risk management. Even if the edge isn't that great, where it would be like a slow bleed, if you were managing your risk, you're blowing it up left and right, because most folks have bad risk management. They have bad risk management because they want to get rich overnight. They want the account quick. And that's just the truth of the matter. That's just that. You could deny it all you want, but the biggest cause of traders' downfall is lack of patience. That's it. It's lack of patience, because they want to They have all these grand dreams, aspirations that they want to reach, and they want to reach it overnight. And that has the opposite effect, and it just puts them back farther. They would get to where they want to go much quicker if they actually took it slow, piece by piece. You see? So that's the big thing. Like, managing risk is number one. That's the number one thing. All right, trade small. And another thing, like, yeah, like not looking in the mirror, like putting the blame on somebody else is the big thing. But it's just like folks are they're so stuck in these patterns. They're just so stuck in these patterns, and it's familiar to them. I've said it before. It's familiar misery. All right. You might say that you want to be a consistently profitable trader, and you might know consciously like what it takes to get there. I just told you need an edge, you need to manage risk, good psychology, execute, right? You know that. I've said it so many times. You know that on a conscious level, but unconsciously, a lot of folks, they are addicted to the previous way of thinking, right? It's because it's familiar to them. They might be blowing up accounts left and right. They might be losing money left and right. They might be doing all that, but at the same time, they can predict it. It's familiar. They can predict it. They understand intimately the feelings that are associated with that. Okay. Meanwhile, being a consistently profitable trader, sticking to your plan, being disciplined, do what you should do, that is unfamiliar territory. So on a conscious level, you want that, but unconsciously, you don't recognize that. And whenever you're met with feelings that are associated with that you don't recognize, that's where you're going to revert back into old behavior. That's where you're going to revert back into destruction. That's why people self-sabotage. That right there is that's the core of it, because you don't recognize it. So you're going to go back to what you know, and that's effing up, right? That's blowing up your account. And then you'll go on social media, you'll complain, and then other people are going to chip in, complain with you, and it's just a big old pity party, right? You understand, you are familiar with that emotion. You're not familiar with the emotion of being proud of yourself, of being disciplined, of following your plan. So when you're met with it, you go back to that. So what do you do then, right? How do you embrace, how do you stay consistent in that uncertain territory, right? That uncertain territory, the unknown, right? What you got to do is you just got to catch yourself, and you got to become mindful. The big thing here, the key thing here is becoming mindful of whenever you are being met with those emotions where you want to deviate, where you want to self-sabotage and go back to your old ways. Okay. So you got to become mindful. How do you become mindful? There's a few things you can do to become mindful so you can actually start to improve and go in the right direction and catch yourself in those moments when it's happening. Here's what you got to do. There's a few things. Number one, of course, it's going to be journaling, right? Whether that, of course, you got to do the trade journaling, but also the emotional journaling of like jotting down whenever you're feeling greedy, right? Whenever you're feeling anxious, whenever you are in a trade, right? And jotting that down whenever having that down on paper, like whenever that emotion pops up, having that down on paper during the trade and jotting it down, I promise you it's going to do a lot for you. So whenever you feel that emotion, like instead of getting like wrapped up in it and then acting on it and doing something stupid, your instinct should be write it down, get it on paper. And I promise you it's gonna lift a weight off your shoulders when you do that. When you just get it down on paper, or not even on paper, like even if you're using kind of nowadays, a lot of folks, including myself, since I started doing this too, are using journaling platforms. And if you do want a journaling platform, a really good journaling platform to use, I actually have partnered with a journaling platform, and I'll leave a link to that in the video description below. So if you want like a really good journaling platform to do this on, which you need to do, okay, which you need to be journaling, this is step number one on how to overcome it. Video description below. Okay. Make sure to use my code. And if you do want to use that platform, make sure you use my code Candle Confirmation, and you'll get 50% off your subscription for life. Okay. So that's number one. It's going to become mindful to get it on paper. It's going to help a lot. And number two is meditation. I'm not saying you got to spend hours meditating. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is maybe like 5 to 10 minutes before you start trading, take the time, focus on your breath, only on your breath. Whenever you get because it's going to happen, you're going to get distracted. You're going to have thoughts pop in. That's fine. Don't try to fight it. Just whenever that happens, redirect your focus back on your breath. Because what that's going to do what that's going to do is it's going to train you to become mindful. You're becoming mindful of your breath, and that's the same type of skill that you can transfer over into trading. How so? Whenever you are getting distracted, whether it be by greed, while you get greedy, you become fearful. It's the same thing, just like that thought that's popping into your head and you're getting distracted by that in your meditation. You should be focused on the plan and executing your plan, but you'll have like that greed, you'll have that fear that pops into your head, right? That tells you to do something. But what you're going to do is, because you have trained yourself to become mindful of focusing on your breath, the same thing that you can do here is you can train yourself to become mindful, to focus on your plan. That is what a lot of folks are missing here, and that's what they don't understand, and how important that meditation is because that's exactly what it trains you to do. It trains you to focus on the plan. You see, because the thing about it is, you're a human being. You're not going to avoid those emotions. It's part of you. It's always going to be part of you. But what you can do is you can train yourself. You can train yourself to become mindful of when it's happening, or whenever you're starting to deviate, where you're ever starting to get carried away by it. And then you can focus on the plan. You can redirect to the plan. You can redirect to your why. Your why being like why you do this, right? Like why do you need to be consistently profitable? Why do you do this, right? Because folks don't do that in the moment, and that's why they self-sabotage and they go back to their old habits, their old ways of thinking. Because in those moments, they do not slow down. They do not slow down. They do not become mindful. They get carried away by the emotion, and then guess what happens? Later on, once they mess up and they do something stupid, they look back with regret, like, oh man, why did I do that? And I know many of you watching this, including myself, whenever I was starting, have been in that place many times. Like, why did I do that? Like, I knew what I needed to do. Like, why did I do that? You need to slow down. And you need to become mindful in that moment. And you need to redirect the focus to the plan, to your why, whatever that is, whether it be your kids, right? Whether it be retiring your mom, your dad, whatever it is. And you need to slow yourself down in that moment, which meditation is going to help you with, right? And then you're going to redirect the focus there. Every single time you're going to redirect the focus, right? So you need to be journaling, which again, that's going to be, that's number one. And then of course the meditation, and then that's a skill that you could transfer here. And so like, again, when you're meditating, you need to just focus on your breath. Whenever you deviate, you start to think about something else, just redirect the focus to the breath. The same, and then again, and then in trading, it's going to be, whenever you think about breaking your trading rules, then you're going to redirect the focus. You're going to recognize that emotion. You're going to redirect focus to the plan. Redirect your focus also to like why you do this, why you need to be consistently profitable, right? And here's the thing: it's to be uncomfortable. Again, what you're doing, it's going to be uncomfortable, because what you're doing is you're wiring different patterns in your brain, because you've never done this before. A lot of you watching this have never been consistently profitable. You never have put forth the actions that are going to make you consistently profitable. So like whenever you do that and you enter uncertain territory, it's going to be uncomfortable, because you're building like new wires in your brain, new pathways in your brain. But after about a month, it gets easier, because that's where new patterns start to form in your brain. And after that, it does get easier. You're still going to have that urge. I'm not saying it goes away completely, but that's where it does get easier. So the beginning is always the hardest with it. So, but once you break out of it, it does get easier. All right. That's how you do it. That's the answer. Right. Because I can't only talk about technical now. I know I have others. I do have videos that are similar to this, but I'm really just reiterating it because it's so important, because I can give you the strategy, candle confirmation on a platter, like literally the best strategy that you're going to find in regards to like simplicity, how effective it is, how good it is for your psychology. But even that strategy, most are still going to fail if they neglect what I'm telling you here. If you don't do what I'm telling you here, you're still going to fail, because you're going to revert to old behavior, old patterns, right? So don't skip psychology. It's very important, because without good psychology, you're bound to just be in that hamster wheel of the same destructive patterns. Okay. If you do want to use that journal, just go in the video description. You'll see it. Just kind of scroll through the video description and you'll see the link to the journal. Don't forget to use code candle confirmation. Again, that is candle confirmation, to get 50% off your subscription, monthly subscription, right? All right. Hope you enjoyed.